Yeah, thank you. Normally, Mr. Feldhaus would be here and present this presentation. Unfortunately, he cannot attend today, so because he's occupied with another project on short notice, so I hold his presentation, but I hope I can bring his points. I would like to introduce a few WEDA products and give some informations about the whole insect rearing. So I will start with the innovation solutions for modern barn and feeding technology. Here we can see the company, just short about WEDA. It's stayed in Lutten, family owned by Mr. Clemens Westerkamp and Jutta Sextro. And we are still professional in the pig housing and farming. That's where we come from. And now we are a little bit, or a little bit more, working in the insect field. We have here in Lutten our development and our production by 150 employees, and we exist over 80 years at all. We bring our products worldwide we represent it in 50 countries worldwide. And yeah, so in the next slide, we can see that WEDA is already in the insect business. We had our first contact in 2017 with a black soldier fly, and we optimized our feeding system for the substrate for feeding the black soldier fly, and this will be my main point today. We also do the climate, but that's another point. Next slide, please. Here we can see at the first our research and development plant. It's a pilot plant here, where we start the development. We have an 8-corner tank with a parallel system, so we can dose out continuously the feed for the insects. This is for the KISS handling very important, that it just can go on, and we can scale up so easily large systems. A parallel system means that we fill up the first tank, mix it, and then we feed the first tank while the second tank is also filled up and mixed. And then the two tanks can change, that the second tank feeds and the first tank get filled and mixed again. On the next slide, please, we can see then a bigger plant of WEDA, which we built. This plant, the short plant before, can handle 10 tons of substrate per day. The bigger plant can handle 130 tons per day easily. Here we can see also an parallel system. Here we work with 3 tanks, so we have more time to mix the feed. This means 1 tank dosed out the feed continuously, and the other tanks have enough time to mix the feed. And this is really important, that we've got homogeneous feed, that every box or every crate in the feeding system has the same quality and quantity of feed. So we can dose out in every box the same amount of larvae, and we can earn or harvest of every box the same amount of larvae. And this is for the process handling very important. Furthermore, we have here 3 pre-mixing tanks where we can fill in liquid components, and yeah, we pre-mix them first so we can work faster in the whole process. We've got a cutter, agitator, and a macerator, but to that later. The next slide is about the feeding system. It's our WEDA Intrix dosing station, and we can see here the crates. They come from the left side and get filled just in 20 seconds, and then the farmer can set the quantity between 5 and 10 kilos. This is, yeah, at some projects a little bit different. Important is that there are not too much feed in one box, that the larvae can work the feed really good. And yeah, we can also handle with our products, with our dosing station, feed with a dry matter content from over 30%, and that's really good, because if the feed is too wet, it's hardly to get the frost dry and to harvest the insects. At the next point, we can add wheat bran. So even if we have liquid or more liquid feed, we can add some wheat bran, and the dry matter content in the crates at the end is optimal too. And then on this conveyor, we can, at the last step, fill in the larvae in the crates, and then we can bring the crates in the fattening room with optimal climate condition for 7 days or whatever the process is optimized for, to get them grown up. Next slide, please. Now there are some products from us. I don't want to go too much into detail. Here are some different types of tanks. Very big tanks, stainless steel tanks with a value between 500 and 25,000 liters. These tanks are not optimal for the dry or for feed which has a really high content, a dry matter content. There we can see our optimized tank for the larvae. These tanks have the 8 corners, which I said soon, and these tanks just have amount or volume from 500 to 1,000 liters. The fermentation, already said in the last presentation, is a really good thing for a better digestion of the feed, and also the nutrients are much better absorbed by the insects, and we need less engineers for the digestion. Here we are working in a batch process, so just to show to the technical point of a fermentation, we have batch processes, and we add laced active bacteria in a feed with a temperature of 36 to 40 degrees. So over 24 hours, the feed can ferment, and then we can feed it. So we have here the same as in our batch process of the mixing. We fill up one tank, let it ferment 1 day, can feed it, while the other tank is fermenting. And so the important points here are that we work with a lower or with a slow running agitator, that we've got not so much oxygen in the feed, because that's not so good for the bacteria. They are anaerobe, and the microbial population in the feed mixture reduce so the pH value, that the feed is stable. And this is a macerator that we can crush larger components, because it's important that the feed sizes are slow. If they are too big, the insects can't handle it very well. So if it's smaller, the insects can take it better. These are our pumps. Here is an eccentric pump. Hope you see that. Yeah. Where we can dose out very precisely even dry feed. And this is a big point I called. This is no problem with this big pump. And for liquid or for more liquid feed, we have on the next slide a centrifugal pump. It's also a WEDA self-made production. And yeah, next slide, we can go a little bit faster to these products now. These are agitators. This is the slow running agitator, for example, the fermentation or bigger premixing tanks, that we have a homogenized feed to feed it to the insects. Is a little bit more interesting. Here is an SRW agitator. It's a fast running cutting agitator. So if we get food waste or other byproducts like fruits and vegetables, the most we can handle in a big tank with an SRW agitator to cut it small. And so we can render the feed components on smaller size. And if we take this feed against through a moderator and pump it in circle, we can have a very homogeneous, very nice little or small feed that the insects are working better on it. This is a pretty nice product of WEDA. It's a highlight. It's a proven UV light that reduce germs and bacteria, also fungi and yeasts in the tanks for a more homogeneous feed, because the insects are still 7 days in the feed. They can handle everything, even not so pretty good feed, but if it's more, it's not really, or it's safe, because we can switch it off, so there are no risks for people or the plant. And I'm nearly at the end. It's our process program, our excellent 4PX computer. It's easy to handle and to control the whole insect harvesting process. We can connect it with the WEDA Firm 4PX and with the air condition, so we can see easily how the larvae are growing and how the process is working. Please, the next slide. Can you play this video, hopefully? Yeah, and that was my last point. Thanks for your attention. And if there are questions, feel free to ask. Best way is to ask Mr. Feldhaus. He's the contact person from WEDA Insects. And hope I could bring his points. And
Just
thank you, Gerrit.
Yeah, thank you, Gerrit. First of all, the phone number, just to you, this is a German phone number, so you need to dial 0049 to access Mr. Feldhaus.